it.
Yay! I had such expectations that this would like somehow go smoother because Phoenix is like young.
I'm a millennial.
Right.
No, we got it. Yeah.
Because usually me and mine are like,
I was a little like that too.
I know. It's not us. It's Instagram. Okay, well, hello. There, I briefly spoke to the Miwa's out. Phoenix is in today. So I've known Phoenix for years. Why don't you introduce yourself? Probably everyone knows you already, but you can say hello to those of you who are like, who's Phoenix?
Aw, hello everyone. My name is Phoenix. I have been a longtime student at BPI. I think I started in 2017, so I've been around for a minute. And I teach classes at the BEEP, and I mentor students and coach, and I love body magic, so I'm super happy to be here.
This is fun. Yeah, it's nice to see you. The first couple of years we knew each other was all over the phone. It was a long time before I ever was like, oh, there you are in person. Okay.
I know, funny.
Yeah.
It's like a funny relationship when you see someone, but then you meet them in the physical. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have lots of questions to answer today. I thought I would get us going, kind of define body magic, which this is a huge topic. Like half the enlightenment program at the BPI is about this stuff. So I'm going to be speaking in kind of general terms, and then we'll get into our questions because we have a lot of great questions. But with that said, my definition of body magic is multifaceted. It's like being in touch with your own personal user manual, because every body comes with this optimal user manual. And it's being in what I call loving reality with your body, which is like, I'm not in judgment of my body. I'm in loving reality with it. So, okay, that sounds great. How do you get there? That's the big question of how do I get in loving reality? Oh, my user manual, I can just flip to page 37. You know, if I have a cough, what does it say to do? Okay. But which at some point we should talk about how like spiritual people can get completely hung up if anything bad or wrong happens to their physical body. And they're like, oh no, it's because I'm not spiritual enough. I didn't just heal it with my mind. But we'll circle back to that. But my overview of like how to get into this this harmonious relationship with your body is, I have about 3 steps to that. Again, these are big overarching steps, but the first step is getting neutral to your body, meaning I'm in my body, I'm here, I'm home, I'm not, my point of awareness is not 20 years out in the future, stuck in the past. I'm present. I'm in present time in this body. I'm home. I'm running my energy in my body. And I'm accepting that like I'm different than my body. There's my soul. My soul is having a human experience and has dropped into this body because me as a soul said, I want to do that. I want to be in a body. I want to go to earth school and I'm going to do it. I'm going to just drop in and see what happens. Right. I've told this story before. I know someone who swears that his first memory is of a baby and he opens his eyes and goes, oh, this shit again. Really? Okay. But so that's phase 1 is getting neutral to like, I have a body and I'm getting out of judgment of that body. It's an awesome body. It's a bad body. It used to be a great body. Now it's bad. It's good. I don't want it to not be good. You get out of judgment. Like, this is my vessel and I'm appreciative of this vessel. Thank you, body. I get to go on an earth adventure with you. I couldn't, you know, I get to be here. And step 2 is, can I get out of judgment, fear, resistance to my body? Can I operate with my energy and not what we call foreign energy, which is not really good or bad. It's just not my truth. It's the whatever culture I'm a part of that's shoving information into me that I'm like, wait, that's not me. So am I running my energy in my body? Am I getting out of resistance, fear, judgment of this body? And then step 3 is, can I heal this body? And what can I heal? This is, again, where the word reality comes in with me of like, what is my life life learning lesson that I can meditate all I want, but that's not really going to change. And then I'm in judgment and resistance. Or what is the magic of like, oh, you can heal that. You can heal it multiple ways, including like your capacity as a healer, as a human. You know, we know that the placebo effect is real. So we know we're powerful. But, you know, if I was, so an example of this would be, if I find out I have a heart defect I was born with, it's inoperable, I'm not going to start like, oh, I'll just meditate harder, you know, and I'll just want this like miracle that's like, well, that's not based in reality. And you as a soul, me as a soul must have been like, I wanted to learn that. Okay, what am I going to learn from that? And I may be mad at that process for a while. Or do I have a heart problem because I'm living very unconsciously and I'm under chronic stress that I've imposed on myself? I'm not listening to my body. I'm not in touch with anything. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants, eating crap. Okay, wait a second. Then I can work on what are all the things. That's a whole healing journey right there of what energy is blocking me from being in touch with my body. And so that's the kind of harmonious loop I see as body magic. I'm in a body, I'm neutral to this body, I'm grateful for it. I'm in reality. I have the clarity of mind to know what is mine and what I can actually shift and change. And then finally, overarching, am I in a vibration of loving on my body, or am I in a vibration of punishing my body? You know, of like, bad body, eat spinach forever. Right? And it's so easy to catch yourself doing something healthy out of a punishment vibration.
Yes.
And then you're like, wait a minute. You know? So that's my little lesson on how I view a spiritual connection with your mind, you know, your body. Again, this is like half of the enlightenment program at the BPI.
You're getting a preview.
Yeah, but I will give you a chance to weigh in on some of this stuff. I was looking at my notes. Did I miss anything? Probably. But yeah, we have lots of questions we can get to too. But it was, yeah, tell me how what your thought on like, what is body magic?
Yeah. Before I answer that, I feel like one thing that came up for me when you were speaking about all of that is like how the majority of how we are socialized to see or relate to our bodies is through these lenses of like punishment, like you said, and perfection. And sometimes they go hand in hand because it's like, be perfect body, or like in that example where you were saying, you know, someone's born with a heart condition and they're like, oh, I need to change this. Well, operating from any kind of healing or aka change work from a place of this needs to be perfect is a very harsh way to orient to anyone, yourself or someone else if you're healing someone else. Yeah, so that just kind of, I was like, oh yeah, perfection and punishment. Those are two really big vibrations that are really in there and how we relate to our bodies. Body magic. I mean, my whole thing of how I've looked at this and verbalized it, which is kind of the same vibration of what you're talking about with loving reality. That's such a pretty vibration when you're talking about that. Is I really see that my body is my primary partner. So your body is your primary partner this lifetime.
I love that.
Right? Because like in the spiritual world, when we go through that awareness of like, oh, I'm not my body, I'm the soul, then I often see sometimes in the meme world of of internet spiritual land or just new agey culture, right? There's that language of like, oh, this flesh prison, just like dry. Right, and
flesh.
that's coming from a lot of, I know, right? Like flush prison.
No,
Wow.
it's your flesh spaceship.
Right, and that the energy behind flesh prison is often that punishment that
Yeah.
we're talking about, right? It's like, oh, like, um, and so I've kind of reframed that for myself and like my body, I'm not my body, yes, and my body is my primary partner this lifetime. We are in
I love that.
collaboration.
Yeah.
And, I know you love relationships. I love relationships, like studying relationships, right? And so it's like, how is the relationship between me and my body? Are we communicating?
Right.
are are
Are we giving each
we
other the silent treatment?
is one of us just kind of like, nope, nope.
Yeah.
um how's the communication? Are we collaborating? As I've gotten older and wiser in my relationships, I've learned to really value relationships that are
Hmm.
collaborative, meaning we're both able to kind of come together and create together. And so I often view body magic as that kind of soul body collaboration. Am I collaborating with my body? Am I in communication with my body? And I've heard Miwa talk about this at the school, which I really love this teaching, right? Like you are designed for success.
Hmm.
Um, and I do see that. I mean, success is going to be unique and different for everyone, right? It's not going to be perfection. And there's so many perfect beliefs that I feel like come up around
Oh, yeah.
health too, physical. And so I'm not saying success means you're perfectly healthy according to some idea out there, but I feel like when I am in communication with my body, when I am in that partnership is doing well, I do experience the energy of success, which is just, it's just easier to be in my body. And
You're in a harmonious collaboration. I think that's such a good point. Right. Because your body might want you to be like, oh, I want to swim and meditate and yoga and
make love.
make love and spend 4 hours cooking this meal every day. And then you're like, body, I have to pay rent. Okay. That's cute. But so it's like, yeah, can we work together here?
Right, and how can even like paying rent, right, which is something I feel like actually came up in a trade that we did recently. I've been looking at this of like me paying rent, me providing my body that first chakra need of shelter, right? That's
Yeah.
actually me taking care of my body. I'm like, body, I'm
Right.
going to take care of you and provide you with this shelter in this current system, circumstances,
Yeah.
society that I live in.
That you dropped into your body in this time of like, yeah, this is the world we live in, reality. Because I like to get mad at reality sometimes of like, oh, capitalism is just working against all of our bodies. Well, is that the fight you're going to fight? Me versus capitalism. I don't know.
Sounds tiring.
Right. Right. Okay. I love that point you bring up of like, this is our primary, this is your most important relationship.
Yeah.
We're slammed. We have questions. Should we get to them?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Usually, Miwa will talk for like 45 straight minutes, and I'm like, Miwa, we have to answer a question. I have to like raise my hand and be like, okay, it's my turn. All right. Question number one. I struggle with routine. How do I let my body show me the way? I'm gonna have you and I spoke briefly on the phone, and I thought your answer was awesome to this.
Yeah. Well, kind of going on that same thing of you're in collaboration with your body. If you're wanting to shift anything, and that's one of the main things that we teach here at BPI, right? Is you want to address the energy first. You want to address
Mhm.
the energetic dimension, as above, so below. And so if you're wanting to have an easier time with routine, or you're wanting to kind of just set the space so that you can have a routine that is true for you, right? That works for you, that isn't built off of some other should or someone else's idea of what a
Mhm.
routine is. Here in this psychic context, I would say set the energy, work the energy of routine first, and then that can translate into your physical experience, into your body, because your body is always the expression of the energy that is set in your body. And so, one way to support your body that I've learned, right, being here at the school, is actually to do the energy work so that your body can then be operating off of your truth, energy that works for you. Um, and then, yeah, that's what I would say to that.
So looking at the energy of routine, and is that routine in alignment with me, or is that routine coming from a punishment or perfect vibration? I like that. I was gonna say the same thing, but slightly different. Of like, am I operating out of love for my body and respect, or am I operating out of punishment? And if that person is like, well, I'm trying to be love, but I'm going unconscious and slipping into just, I don't know, I stay up late watching Netflix, then I sleep in, then I don't, then I eat,
Mm.
have 4 shots of coffee and go straight to work. Okay, then the thing to look at is what's the energy that's keeping you from wanting to love on your body, and wanting to do the routine that feels better for you. But yeah, you really have to watch the programming though, like especially like I play this trick with anytime I hear the word optimize, sometimes I'm like a little suspicious, which I think we have that in our byline, but like especially if it's a guy talking about like optimize power, take all these supplements and lift weights and eat spinach from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. then go to work. I'm like, oh no, it's all of that. But I mean, some people, they love it, and if that's coming out of love for you, great. But if it's coming out of I've been bad, and now I'm going to be good, and I'm going to eat spinach for breakfast.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's kind of kinky there. It's like
Yeah,
eating
right.
spinach from a kinky place. Well, and that kind of leads me to something that we might talk about more at some point, but that health is so different
Right.
for everyone. There is no universal like that like guy who pounds whatever, does all that stuff. Like if that is true and authentic for his body, great, but there's so many differences. Every
Yeah.
body is so unique and so different, and so one version of health does not work for everyone, like at
Yep.
all.
Yeah. Truth. Okay. Next questione. How do I separate from family's energy / medical history from how my body is currently functioning? To me, that sounds like, my family has health problems. My family has health issues. Or maybe my family's all vegan, running 10 miles a day, and my body's like, I don't
I
want
want
to.
meat. Yeah.
I don't like running. um, so that's an interesting question. There's a lot of layers to that of like, your relationship with your family and how enmeshed you are with your family, and can you have your truth while your family has their truth? Are you trying to change them? Or oh, you guys, those cigarettes, so that fried chicken, you're no to any of that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's, I'm not saying that's what this person was doing, but this is, once you start getting into family stuff, there gets a bunch of layers to that. So the one thing I'll say before I see how you answer this is like, there's genetic stuff. If you inherit something genetically, can you change that with your mind and with meditation and energy work? Um, I don't know. I want to believe that sometimes we could, because like I always get hung up on the placebo effect, and like we are more powerful than we think, and like can we? So I do a meditation where I ask my cells to update, to go. I can't prevent all this toxic world. That I can't make it so there's not pollution. I'm not going to trouble myself with buying organic food. So I'm asking my body just mutate. Am I overriding my body? I'm not sure. But So can you shift what you inherited from family? It's a mixed bag. I think sometimes yes, like if it's like, oh, I don't like the way they eat, it doesn't feel good to my body. Yeah, then that's your own personal healing journey to find out what works for you and be out of resistance to your family. But that's my answer. Because I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. Um, Family is definitely a big kind of heavy topic with regards to all of that for a lot of people. Um, my answer to that is kind of similar to what you said there at the end, where um, as much as you are in resistance to your family and who they are, or the behaviors they have, or how they take care of their bodies, or how they don't, um, you are going to become them more if you resist them, right? So if you're
Mm,
in so much resistance, that's actually going to cause more likelihood for you to unconsciously kind of become them and adopt those behaviors, or just have just a very hard time
yeah,
in relationship to them, like you were talking about, trying to kind of fix and change them. And um, the more that you're going to be able to give your family space to have their own relationship with Western medicine, or their own, you know, diet, or their own health habits, and just kind of give them space. Hey, that's their path. That's their choice. This is the planet of free will. Like, they get to do what they get to do. Um, the more you're going to have the space to give yourself that space to actually do what's true for you with regards to all those things. Um, but yeah, I often see that, and this is coming from personal experience for sure, that the more I've resisted my family and their behaviors or their health habits, the more I actually kind of unconsciously become them. It's kind of a little crazy. Yeah.
like when I say something to my kids and it's like right out of the mouth of my mom through me.
Oops. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, all right. I like that. Okay, so we have a few more questions. We have like four more questions that I want to get to. Here's a good one. How are we socialized to see our bodies, and how does that interfere with our view of health and our relationship with our own body magic? So that is like the dominant culture pushing down on us and interfering with our own truth. I mean, I would say that percentage is probably pretty
Mm.
high of like, um, so when I was preparing for this class and I was making a cover image for Instagram,
Mm.
I'm in Canva and you search through the photos, and this is always a fun little experiment. So I put in first I like put in body magic, then I just put in body, and every time a billion pictures of thin, white, booby, perfect butt. And there was in these yoga positions that like almost no, like good luck with that.
Yeah.
And it's just rankling me of like, yeah, this is what the world says health
Yeah.
is skinny, 26, little hourglass, and like this is some bullshit right here. You know? But that's the battle. I mean, battle's a charged word. Right. What can you gauge in yourself? To what degree is this the world telling me I should be this way? And to what degree is this my truth?
Mm.
This body, I like being thin and athletic. When I'm not that, it interferes with my joy of kickboxing. Because there's the social element of I want to fit in with the pack. That's part of a first chakra thing too, you know? And so how do I gauge fitting in? Because I need that too. You know? And therein lies your own journey in meditation, I think, in finding, am I wanting to slough off this extra 10 pounds I put on because I want people to love me, because if I'm thin, someone will love me, and then I'll be healthy, and then I'll be happy, and then I'll be healthier? Or is it like, well, I just feel better and I can move better and I have more fun at kickboxing? Yeah, that's really what I want. Okay, I'm okay with that truth. Um, but you can really get into resistance of society, you know, of like, now I'm going to push back on that and be like, no,
Yeah.
you know. So I think there's like weighing what's my truth and what's that compromise or collaboration of, well, body, maybe it's my truth to not wear clothes. Well, okay, that's going to cause trouble when you go outside, you're going to be arrested. Like, is that, you know,
And your
there's some
body
that like, no,
is not going to be safe.
right,
Yeah.
right, like, no, just stick with the pack, okay? You know, like, put your pants on and stick with the pack. That was a bad example, but it doesn't have like, what do clothes have to do with your health? I don't know. But how do you answer that question?
Yeah. Um, like we've talked about, one of the primary ways that we're taught to relate to our bodies in this current time period in society is through punishment. Where there's even that kind of religious programming that I often see in myself or in others, right? Where it's like, it's even like a punishment to have physical form because the like, spiritual form is better. So
Oh,
it's like,
right. Yeah, I should
it's
just be this
like,
light body.
it's just like, you even have a body? Like, fuck you, like, it's just
Yeah.
like hilarious. But, and so that punishment I often see really then translates into how people try and take care of their health, right? And you've talked about this, we've talked about this already, right? Where it's like punishing yourself to eat spinach, or, punishing yourself to take care of your body, right? And all of those first chakra needs of movement and eating and drinking and sleeping and all that stuff. And so I think that that really influences how people uh, like relate to health, is through that punishment lens as well.
Hmm.
Um, and then it kind of comes into like, if I'm not healthy, then I'm doing something wrong, and bad me, and just like all that
Yeah.
that punishment stuff. But yeah, I really feel like it it comes down to like that collaboration again, particularly with things like weight. Like for me, I was so unconscious to the way that I had been programmed by society that I thought that being, you know, like not eating a lot and like weighing like a very tiny amount, like that was just natural for me, but it actually
Mm.
wasn't. And it was, I went on this whole journey of actually at, however old I was, I think when I started like 27, 28, like how do I actually learn to eat?
Mm.
It's like a basic ass thing, but like how do I actually learn to eat enough for my body,
Mm.
and to eat things that actually gives my body fuel, right? Like nutrient dense foods that are going to support my unique specific physiology. And that that whole process and journey that I went on with that of healing really showed me how thick this stuff
Hmm.
is. I've been doing psychic work for 5 years at the point, like, or 4 years, and it's like the conditioning of that skinny, whatever the image is, that sometimes it's like you gotta be skinny, and like we were talking about earlier, heroin chic is in, or like it's like, no, you gotta have a butt now, like whatever
Yeah.
the major thing that society is pushing you can be so unconscious, because it wasn't like I was consciously trying to not eat. I was not counting calories. It was not a conscious thing for me. And then I kind of had to go on this journey with my body, right, in collaboration, partnership of like, oh, I have genes that are like, they're a little bit more like bigger. They're not going to be super tiny, right? Like my body is not going to be like stick thin when I was starving.
Yeah.
And can I be okay with that? Can I also then kind of come out of resistance to my genetics that like this is this is uh this is my genetics, own that, love my body where she is, and then go on this journey of learning to find my set weight, which is the perfect weight that my body doesn't need to, um, like, she will naturally maintain
Hmm.
it because it's like perfect for her. And so it's been this like whole journey of like kind of gaining lots of weight to then coming back to that perfect weight. And there's been no punishment. I need to like go on the treadmill now to get back. The weight loss has actually been natural.
Mm.
Just been like, yeah, she's going to shed it when she feels safe and she knows that I'm feeding her like
Mm-hmm.
over 2,000 calories every day, you know?
Right.
And so it's really, to me, that's just such a symbol of body magic because I'm just like, oh my God, like, this is so cool. I get to be in relationship with my body and like we're gonna find a weight that works, you know, like, and like I'm not gonna be punishing you. And it's not, you know, it's not the I'm not gonna have that body that's gonna be like the one that society wants me to have, but like can I let go of my attachment to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
That I love that story. It's, you know, I love that like your body brought you to the place that's best when you kind of got out of the way. When a better way to say that is your perceptions of how it should be got
Yes.
out of the way. Yeah. It's interesting. I yeah, I struggle with like kind of pain in my neck and shoulders, and I always wonder, and I'll punish myself. Like if I was better, I wouldn't have been able to clear this pain. Why am I taking this pain on? Every time I get a massage, my massage therapist is like, and I'm like, hey, good to see you. And I, you know, I'm like a great mood. I could have been frolicking in a field of flowers for 2 weeks, and I get on the table, and she's like, what's going on? And I'm like, what? Why do you say that? And she's like, this, your neck and shoulders are so jammed up. And I'm like, oh, because I'm bad, I guess. But yeah, I think I haven't come as far as you've come on that journey of like, how do I accept or release this pain? I'm not sure.
I'm right there with you with the shoulders piece. I feel like it's also kind of right. It's like yeah, it's that kind of balance, right, in that relationship because my body would love to be like not sitting at a desk like for my job and like doing everything. And then I'm like, well, this is what I'm choosing to do like in this lifetime
Yeah,
right now with this. And so it's kind of like, yeah, that balance again because
yeah. I think my pain comes from that's where like my cape goes on, you know, because I want to save the world. The weight of
oh yeah,
that.
the responsibility.
Right. Okay. All right. That was good. We have more questions. Okay, I have two questions. We're gonna answer one and the other, but I want to say both of them now. One, what gets in the way of listening to your body's needs? Followed up by where do you start? So if someone's watching this and they're like, I'm not in touch with my body. I don't know how to get in touch with my body. Where do I start? But let's answer the first one first of what gets in the way of listening to your body's needs. I think we've kind of been speaking to that. Anything and everything. But I think the first, right, is that helpful? Everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Next question. I think the biggest low-hanging fruit is, are you home? Are you in your body? Are you, is your, you know, and clairvoyantly, we are taught like, okay, my point of awareness is this little bit of light. It's behind my eyes, between my ears. Like, am I in this body? Can I feel my fingers and toes? Or have I disassociated? I'm not here. This is on autopilot. So that's, I think the first thing that gets in the way is I'm not in present time. I'm not, some people call that mindfulness. I'm not here. And then what does come in is everyone else's truth. You need to work harder and faster. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to do that. And then you're just like, I don't even know which way is which. So we talk a lot at the BPI about what we call foreign energy, which is not good or bad. It's like, if this is a car, I want it to run on gasoline, which is my energy, me. If I put mayonnaise in the gas tank, it's not going to go well. The mayonnaise is not good or bad. Like, we don't talk a lot about like evil. but I have to be in cahoots with my body, in relationship, in partnership, in collaboration. So I think that's the biggest thing is, one, are you in your body? Are you here? Are you home? Is there anyone behind the wheel? Two, are you in resistance, judgment, fear of your body? Are you mad at your body? Are you punishing your body? But I think we've kind of spoken to that. But do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, like what gets in the way.
Of being able to like understand what's best for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see if there's anything else. Yeah, I feel like, in this current society that we're all in and conditioned by, I mean, there's so much of this pattern with regards to health and with regards to relating to your body, but also just with regards to decision making in general, but specifically with regards to like health and hearing your body, to really look outside of yourself for the answers to that. There's a lot of conditioning in our society that would say that somebody else has the answer, this doctor, this whatever. That's a very big thing, I would say, in the kind of medical paradigm, is like that this doctor knows more about your body than you do. And not hating on Western medicine, I think it's so awesome in the right contexts. If I have a broken arm, I definitely want to go to the emergency room.
You're not just going to call me and I'll be like, well, let's go into meditation together. Let's just heal this with our minds.
Yeah, no, it's necessary. It serves a purpose. And but yeah, there's a lot of that conditioning of like looking outside of yourself. And one of my biggest journeys with that particular conditioning is, I would say that, well, first I'll say learning how to look within, which is a big thing of what we teach here at BPI, right? Intuition means going within yourself and finding your answers inside of yourself. And so as I've strengthened that muscle, I just noticed that my ability to be in communication with my body is a lot greater because I am turning within myself. And it's the same principle to what you were talking about with foreign energy. I'm not out there trying to go out there and find somebody else's answer, like to my problem, but I'm turning within and I'm actually listening to my body, then tuning into my own truth. And that does help me communicate more clearly because I'm operating on my truth and how I'm communicating with my body because I'm turning within. That does not mean that I don't love to receive support. I feel like that's some like thing that I see there a lot. Like when people receive that information, turning within does not mean that you can't partner again, right? Collaborate.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you're leaving the pack and like, I'm just going to go and find my own berries and my own wood and my own fire and my own shelter by myself. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Start.
Where do you start? So if I
Yeah.
come to you and I say, I don't trust my body doesn't trust me, I don't feel safe in my body, I've had trauma, I don't want to be in this, what did you call it, the meat prison or the skin prison?
The flesh prison.
The flesh prison. Woo.
Definitely seen that on some memes recently. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the internet. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you start? Because sometimes I'll do, if I'm feeling, I often say, your first chakra is your foundation. Like that has to be solid. You can't be up here in spiritual woo-woo land when you don't have shelter, when you don't have food, when you're not getting enough sleep. Like, whoa, go back to number one. But sometimes in meditation, if I'm like trying to just look at my first chakra and get the information, the download, the user manual, and then I'll see some vague nothingness in meditation. I'm like, oh, great. But, and then sometimes I've had profound moments. but I want to hear what you would say. Like, where do you start?
Yeah, well, when you're starting anything, um, uh, uh, I feel like the best way to start is to start with something that is very manageable, right? Because there's always this like kind of big insurmountable energy that can arise at any kind of threshold, and so it's like you're on the threshold of starting something, and it's like you to take that step, make it as easy as possible for yourself to take a step that is going to be as easy as possible. It's so manageable, it's doable, and in this context, right, it's something that's cultivating gentleness with your body. So, what is one very easy, so easy that you're like, oh yeah, I can do that step that you can take um, that is going to be from that vibration of, I'm going to treat my body with more gentleness. You know, maybe it is just going for a walk after I eat, or maybe it's taking a bath, or maybe it's coming to a BPI class and learning how to meditate and take care of my body and
Mm-hmm.
the energy in my body, you know, but it has to be so easy and like for you to actually take it and to for it to be fueled by that gentleness. I have that song, I forget who's the artist in my head when I'm talking about this, and it's like, we go gentle and we go far.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the lyrics. Like, people misunderstand gentleness a lot. I feel like you can kind of project this image onto gentleness that it's like weak or something, I think is the social like conditioning around it. But like, no, we go gentle, we go far. Like, it's gonna
Right.
take you far to be gentle with yourself, and
Like
it's
one conscious step after another.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
love that. Right. Because, especially this time of year, like New Year's, you'll see people like, I work out with a trainer at the gym at this apartment complex. And yeah, this woman came in and she's like killing it. Like, to where my trainer and I are uncomfortable. And I'm like, okay. In my mind, I'm like, I'm ready to call 911 if I need to. Like,
No,
I'm
wait.
just like, I'm like, my phone's over there. Like, I don't think I'm gonna like, because it was like she was just like crushing, like breathing, like okay, like I'm like, no, I just want to be like, I've never worked out that hard a day in my life. Like, just go easier on yourself, please. But I mean, maybe I'm in judgment. But it was like we were like ready to like help. Don't stop.
Well,
Too hard, too fast.
too hard, too fast. Well, it's kind of like what we've been talking about, where there's no universal health. It's all about the energy from which those actions are being fueled by. Is it
Yeah,
an energy punishment that's causing her to go that hard? Or you can fuel an action that maybe looks like you're going really hard, but it's fueled by gentleness because maybe you just have more energy that
yeah,
day. And so it's like, it's kind of just like, what's the energy like that's
yeah,
fueling that action?
yeah. Well, I would answer this question of where to start. I love your answer, and I would add to it that I'm a big fan of getting in touch with your five senses. That to me feels approachable, and it's a way to like, you can't be in touch with your five senses if you're unconscious and out of your
Mm-hmm.
body. It's just all the way over here. You're like, oh, I'm hungry. I didn't notice. I a bomb giant sound went off. I didn't even hear it because I'm just zoned out on my phone. Like, so
Yeah.
getting in touch with your five senses is like, I'm back in my body.
Mm-hmm.
There's more than five senses. There's like zillions that are now being
Aw,
named, which is really cool.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
like your sense of balance, temperature. It's cool. Like the way your whole body moves, like your kinetic
Mm.
sense.
Like your lymphatic system or something, that sounds like, yeah.
Yeah. So like getting in touch with five senses, I think a gentle way to get into your body, and that's how your interface with the earth
Mm.
is. Am I looking, what am I seeing? What am I feeling? What
Mm.
feels good? What does this food taste like? Um, touch. Am I able to get touch?
Mm.
Do I have access to that? I think that's a really sweet place to start getting back in touch with your body. in order to kind of get into like the minutia of like what kind of food feels best for my body.
Yeah.
What kind of social environment, what kind of group do I like to be in, what role do I play in that group, what am I getting enough sleep, am I getting too much sleep, but the five senses are, I think, a nice fun tool to get into your body and to start to learn how you're interacting, how you're meeting the earth. I mean, I could go off on a giant tangent too of what's your relationship with the earth. We're so far. There are days that like, did my feet touch the earth today? I don't think so. I was in the house and I walked across the pavement to the car and I drove. Like if my body is touching the earth and I'm feeling the earth and smelling and seeing, oh, I'm here, I'm in a human body, great. And I think that clears some of your chakras, and then your truth starts to come in. And like, I think we all kind of, and we know there's the balance between the stuff you need to cut out. Should I drink wine every day? No. And then the stuff that like, well, I want to add more movement. I want to add more yoga. I want to add more play, and I'm a big believer in focusing on adding more of the good versus focusing on stop drinking so much, don't smoke cigarettes, none of that ice cream.
The restriction, yeah.
Which, you got it. But I think that you'll come about that gentler when you just start loading up on more good. Of like, this is what feels good to my body. My body loved it when I did that yoga thing, or when I got enough sleep because I turned the TV off. My body is asking, most of the time our body's asking us, hey, stop being so stressed out. So that is an interesting way. Getting in touch with your five senses will bring you back into your body and bring you to your home. I love your thing of like, just take an easy next step. Don't move to an all celery diet just yet.
No.
I actually love I make a green smoothie every day and I love it. And I put celery in there and spinach.
Well, it's funny because there's so much of like, right, I think also in health, there's so much of swinging to extremes where it's like all celery diet, like, you know, where it's like, there's that swing to kind of extremes where it's like, I feel like the truth and what I see to be true is it's just moderation, it's in moderation, like, drink wine in moderation.
The other, since we have a few more minutes, a psychic tool that I use sometimes is to just closing your eyes and imagining if your body was out in front of you, and you can put that in like a cookie cutter form, or, and have a conversation and actually see, what does your body look like? What does it say to you? One time I did this with my nervous system. I personified it and put it and it was a woman, and she was a wreck. She was like burned up, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like
hey, fire.
Hey, and I remember learning this in a class at the BPI once of like, you might have to make up with your body for a while, I'm sorry for all those times I told you you were old and dumb and fat and bad and wrong, because your body might be like, I don't trust you.
Yes.
Yes. And then,
yes.
So that's an interesting psychic tool, is start having a conversation clairvoyantly in your mind's eye in meditation and see, how does my body look? Can I give it a healing? Can I wrap it in golden light? Can I talk to it and say, okay, let's make up. Let's do some repair work on my end. Like, I'm sorry for the things I said. Can I talk to you in a loving way? What do you need? And like you said at the beginning, it's a collaboration. But so that's a fun tool, is like, can I actually talk to the energy of my body?
I love that. I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
I've never done that quite explicitly before. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really love that piece that you just said there around the forgiveness that's often needed, between you and your body. because pretty much everybody has learned to beat up on their bodies and to like just, right, if you were to personify it as a partnership, right, a relationship, it can maybe look kind of abusive at times, like that dynamic that we're handed by society.
Yeah.
Always telling your body like that your body needs to change and like be better and like just like all this intense stuff. I've definitely found in my own personal experience that forgiveness vibration is like, and we have a tool and a kind of way of working with that forgiveness energy here at the school. And that's something that I have continued to really use and tune into to really create that friendship or the possibility of that kindness between me and my body. Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking three of the thing that you actually offered to me as a next step in our like first part of our trade, where you're like, oh yeah, maybe write a letter to your first chakra, and I did that, and it was awesome.
Oh, that's great. I want to
And
see
so
it. Let's make it into
that's a cool,
a blog post.
yeah, yeah.
You're like, that's
It's a
between
cool.
me and my first chakra, dude.
It was very emotional, and I've done things
Yeah.
like that before, but of course it's just doing it in present time. And so yeah, kind of offering that to anyone who wants to take that next step as well, is really kind of writing a letter to your first chakra or your body of like, what would you have to say? And then I love the tool that three gave of like, what then, because communication is two ways.
Right.
What then does your body have to say to you? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that is a good place to wrap up. We have a few announcements. If you're not on our newsletter, get on a start signing up for the newsletter, because that's the best way to know about all of we have free pop-up classes, we have workshops, we have classes, and the newsletter will tell you all the things. Every Saturday I write the newsletter. That's usually like more of just like a little spiritual nugget for you to chew on. But Miwa and I are going to teach a 4-week workshop starting February 2nd. We have some relationship stuff coming. That workshop is going to be about sex and spirituality. I'm excited to teach that. That starts February 2nd. We have Self-Healing 101, which is our first intro class, starts March 5th. That's coming up. Taking the first 101, 102, 103 at the BPI is so fun. If that's just like a really good, they're each 4 weeks long and they're great. And then we have a free pop-up class. Oh my gosh, I didn't write it down. Is it January 26th or January 27th?
Yeah.
I don't know either. You guys check the BPI calendar on our website. That's a free pop-up class. We've been doing those. They're fun. They're full of people. Miwa sometimes does Q&A at the end, which is really fun. And that one, I think that one we're doing on flirting.
Yes.
Which is fun, because I think of flirting as not necessarily just like, I'm trying to attract you to be my partner, but more just like this kind of way of being with the world, of like being, it's very generous vibration, kind of like low expectations, like just like, hey, I'm here, you're here, let's just be cute together on this earth. Yeah. Not, that's it. That's all it was.
It's so fun and such a delicious vibration in the body, right? Like I feel like,
and it doesn't lead to just like relationship. Like it may lead to like a work partnership. Like Miwa and I used to like work flirt before we really started working. Like I used to be like, I don't know, maybe I'll work here. And she'd be like, maybe you should work for me. I'm like, maybe, and then like we would just flirt for a while. And then, then at one point I was like, so I work here now. What do you think about that? So yeah, everyone, thank you for coming. I know we didn't get to all of the questions. We had some come in a little bit when we didn't at the last second. So we're definitely going to do more of these. And hello, goodbye, I love you.
Hello, goodbye. Thank you all for being here.
Yeah, all right. Au revoir.
Au revoir.